Hi everyone and welcome to my video and welcome to my channel, and this is my review of Portrait of a Lady from a man's perspective. So Portrait of a Lady is a fragrance by Frederic Malle, and Frederic Malle is one of my favorite perfumers. Frederic Malle is different from many other houses in that he always credits the name of the perfumer who actually created the fragrance. So this one, Portrait of a Lady, is by Dominique Ropillon. And for anybody who is a frag head or part of the fragrance community or interested in fragrance at all, you'll have no doubt heard of Portrait of a Lady come up in the past, or you'll have come across the name. And yeah, it's for me one of the kind of most well-known scents, or at least within the niche market of the fragrance industry. So you'll see here that I've got the 50ml version of Portrait of a Lady. So I tend to always buy 100ml bottles because I always have the sense that they're going to run out. But this one is 50ml, and it's 50ml because it is one of the few fragrances that I find to be very, very strong. So I usually really like it to be strong. I enjoy that. I enjoy being enveloped by it. And this one in particular, it's the only fragrance I've come across that I feel very, very kind of self-conscious about pulling the trigger too hard. And yeah, so that says a lot. You know what I mean? I've got sort of over 20 fragrances in my collection, and this is by far the strongest fragrance. Now, this fragrance I was introduced to maybe like 3-4 years back now, by a friend, a woman, and I remember sitting next to her one day and I was just like, oh my God, what are you wearing? Because it just made such an impact. And she was the one that introduced me into this line of fragrances, and then I went on to sample many of the other ones before I actually eventually just recently bought this one. And the reason is because when I first smelt it, it was kind of like perhaps one of the most feminine perfumes I'd ever smelled. And it's interesting because it often, in reviews, it does get referred to as a unisex fragrance. Depending on where you read about it, or depending on who you're listening to, people will sometimes it's classed as a woman's perfume. Obviously, it's called Portrait of a Lady. But other times it is referred to as unisex, and Frederic Malle, the whole line is meant to be unisex. You know what I mean? They do very much, they're non-gender specific. So this one, I think because of the sort of strong rose elements and the rose mixed with the raspberry and the patchouli combines to create something very, very distinctive and very potent. And it's something that I personally associate with women. And for that reason, initially I was kind of like, oh wow. I mean, if I'm honest, I was almost repelled by it because it was so kind of overwhelming when I first smelt it on this friend. And then as time went on and I went on my own journey with fragrance, and you know what I mean, I've been through kind of waves of enjoying different notes, and more recently it's definitely been rose, and then beyond that patchouli, and then this one really is, if you're talking about rose patchouli fragrances, then you know what I mean, this is a kind of must-have, if you like. So for that reason, yeah, I was actually gifted it by my partner at Christmas time, and yeah, I thought it would be interesting because I searched the internet wide and low to find a review of it from a man's perspective, or to find out if it actually was acceptable to wear it as a man. And I thought, well, there's not much information about that, so I'm going to kind of do it myself. So, Portrait of a Lady. When might I wear this fragrance? Maybe that's a good place to start. So, at the moment, I'm wearing it right now, and obviously not smelling it right now, but I have to say I wore it at New Year. That was the first time I'd worn it in kind of public, so it was kind of like a big event. I had a party at home, and I wore it then. And it feels like, for me, that I can get away with it on a special occasion like that. I don't think I would feel comfortable going into work wearing it, I know that I have read about men who have done that. I guess it would depend on the kind of job that you've got, but I think for an office environment, just because it's so kind of, it has such projection, that I always like to kind of keep in mind how, you know what I mean, if it's going to be sort of offensive to other people, and I'm quite kind of aware of that. So I don't necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily want to wear it to the office, but I would wear it out with my partner. I would wear it out even during the day, I'd say sometimes, and then I'm very much enjoying wearing it in the evening. I mean, for me, fragrance is very much a personal thing, and I'm not really that interested in compliments or what other people think of it. It's something that I kind of tend to wear because I enjoy the feeling of it myself, and I enjoy smelling it myself. And this is one that you can I find myself sort of spending the evening kind of smelling my own wrist, because it's that amazing. So Frederic Malle on their website has a kind of triangle of scent profiles, and I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what the corners are, but this is basically essentially a sort of dark fragrance, and I think that's why people tend to think that men can wear it, because it's not your typical kind of fruity floral fragrance that is often associated with women. It's got like a sort of darkness to it. It's got that patchouli, which gives it a sort of earthiness. And then there's something else in it which kind of, it's almost, I want to say animalic, but it's maybe even a little bit sort of dirty, which for me is what really gives it that sort of slightly masculine edge to it. Now, I think we're obviously like, you know, in 2023, and personally, I'm kind of past the point caring about whether a fragrance is for a man or for a woman. But we do know that, you know what I mean, depending on whether you buy into whether fragrances interact with your hormones or not and create a different smell. I think it's interesting from that point of view, you know what I mean, and how you wear it and how you dress it up, and how you feel when you're wearing it more than anything else. You know what I mean? I'm not a perfume connoisseur in that I don't have any training in this subject, but I can only talk about how I feel. And I feel special when I wear this, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm wearing a work of art. I think that's the biggest takeaway. Unlike other fragrances that I've got in my collection that I wear for different reasons, because I want to feel relaxed, or I want to feel corporate, or I want to feel, you know what I mean, confident. I don't know. This is definitely something very, very different, in that it's something very special. And yeah, as I say, the closest that I can, the most meaningful thing that I can say about it is it's like wearing a work of art. And I think a lot of people could agree with that, is that within the kind of fragrance community, that this one is, you know what I mean, it very much does stand out. I think it's been copied a lot since its original release, but it remains one of these kind of all-time, you know what I mean, master perfumes. So yeah, I hope that's been helpful. And yeah, I look forward to sharing more of my fragrance collection with you next time. Thanks.